Warning, before we begin the video, I'd like to clarify. I do not condone any bashing, slurs, or shaming within the comments. I'd like for all the viewers and commentators to keep things professional and appropriate, mostly since this can be a delicate matter for some. Not to mention, I'd like to keep things from getting any more disorienting or messy. Now then, another clarification I'd like to make up. I talked to both parties involved within the video, and all the witnesses. Everything shown was consented to use as proof for this video documentation. Now then, before we properly start, this video's whole purpose is to act like a food for thought, something to keep in mind for any of the viewers who desire to watch or interact with RAGERRS content. So let's begin. RAGERRS is a YouTube content creator predominantly featuring Roblox games. Someone who once started at 1K, rapidly growing to 3K, and for good reason. His humor combined with the content was refreshing. Not to mention, he tended to hold decent interactions with said followers during chats and streams. The community was genuinely a sweet one. Unfortunately, this led to the incident which left him deleting the server and blocking those involved in said server. His biggest reason for this being the comfort of the members after they all found out, which is fair enough. Creating this distance was a decent reaction, mostly since most members aware of the issue discussed uncomfort in private group chats when it came to interacting in said server. Now, how did it all start? What's the incident? Well, it came to a witness's attention that they were matching profiles, often playing along in games outside of Roblox, even having a lovey-dovey Spotify shared. Not to mention TikTok comments in which he said, and I quote, "God bless this woman," and mine. Under normal circumstances, this wouldn't be a problem. The problem here is that RAGERRS is 19 and his ex is 16. Before we continue, let me make it clear, the age gap wouldn't be bad if they were both adults. But in this situation, the ages are unsavory to factor in, which is again 19 and currently 16. There has been an apology made by RAGERRS himself, not to mention his reasoning as shown on the screen. The biggest defense he made is that his ex has a late birthday and he has an early one, which again wouldn't be a problem if she wasn't a minor, but that's for a later point. Here's his apology inside. Most of my statements are out there and I have acknowledged my mistake. Me and blank had started flirting back and forth and I was under the impression she was older. That was completely my mistake and I will not deny it. Once I found out she was 16, I reeled back and told her that if we wanted to keep talking or do anything considered a relationship, we must have total and utter consent, which we had done with each other over call multiple times as stated about blank before. I, in my mistake, will admit, I didn't know consent in blank's state was 17 and assumed it was the same as here and thought the workarounds. With her being 2007 with a late birthday and me being 2005 with an early birthday, and the grade level comparison would allow us to have a non-sexual relationship, which involved us just playing and casual flirting like she had said. Plus, I didn't want to be leading her on. I decided to go into the relationship with the boundaries and consent we had set. Yes, I am aware I made a mistake and apologized for it over and over and we broke it off completely. I apologized to her. I apologized to everybody involved, and now I've apologized to many more. I will not say I'm in the right. I'm completely wrong, and I am sorry for my mistake. However, this has only led to extreme allegations towards me and her without the proper evidence backing any sources or claims. I provided my screenshots in the documents before, and I got validity of my claims from blank herself. Now then, as for the ex themselves, it is true. They agreed to the arrangement, they both agreed to the relationship, and agreed to break it off once he had confronted her. Here is the proof. RAGERRS said, "We gotta end this off. Blank, you awake? Blank, it's important." Blank, RAGERRS, hop in text. Blank said, "Oh, we can end things, it's okay, I understand." RAGERRS replied, "Thank you, blank. I'm sorry for this. I really hope you don't believe I groomed you. I really tried everything in my power to make sure you consented and that it was mutual." Blank said, I don't believe you did. Don't worry. It was mutual. But yeah, I understand. It can't be helped." RAGERRS replied, "I'm sorry for my actions. I should have been more considerate. It is not your fault at all." Blank said, "You have nothing to apologize for. Don't worry. You were very considerate." Additionally, it is very important to note the ex's response, because they like to clarify their side, they are okay, all right? Let's remember that unnecessary rumors and accusations shouldn't be thrown around, especially when involving his ex. So again, let's not make speculations on how they felt about it all. This is what blank said. I don't know where this image of me being a mentally unstable, depressed victim came from. I am mentally well, medicated, and been told by my counselor I'm completely stable to the point I only have to see her every few months. I want to clear it up that I am not severely depressed. I am well and was not taken advantage of. For me, it started when I had ended my 9-month talking stage thing. That was horribly unhealthy, but I recovered quickly considering the final month I had lost all remaining feelings I had for the guy I was with at the time. Me and Rager were good friends in a way. We hung out, and he's a really nice guy to talk to. Even when we were dating, all we really did was play Overwatch with light flirting and so on. A good chunk of it was also with my good friend Blank. Love, Blank. We had went over consent a minimum of 3 times, probably more, over text, call, etc. What we had was simply pure as well as legal. It's a 2-year difference, and I was held back due to family issues. I have more to say, this is just background. Then they explained more information, which mostly regarded a messy dispute between some members of the Discord and their opinions on the situation, which obviously included the mentioned ex. Since that isn't the focal point of the video, I will be leaving it out. Now that Rager's defense has been set out, let's point out its faults. From here on out, this is the portion of the video where I make my own points and why I advise and caution to any possible viewers/followers of his. Be reminded that in the end, it is up to you, dear viewer, to process this information and decide what to think or feel. As stated previously, he had mistakenly thought she was of consenting age. Age of consent in his state is 16, but age of consent in his ex's state is 17. The fact he didn't try to double check is mind-boggling, but let's set that aside. Another detail to point is that before anyone else brings it up, in a court of law, the consent they agreed to only holds up purely because they agreed to hold off any sexual activities. Now, can we believe they held their words? All I can say is that I definitely hope so. Genuinely. That aside though, let me also point out that although the age of consent for his ex's state is 17, what's the age that officially marks someone as an adult? 18, and they were neither 17 or 18. They are currently 16. As shown on the screen, blank has stated themselves, my birthday is December 8th, 2007. I live in the state of blank. That's where I did the consent check and whatnot. The rest is cut off because, again, it involved other people and their relationship to the ex. It's not quite significant to the point I'm making. Speaking of, our second point, they hadn't done anything sexual, at least to our knowledge and hopes. But let's ask ourselves, was this morally okay? Did he do something smart? Well, obviously no. The biggest issue I have with his explanation is that although his ex may not have had the biggest age gap with him, mentally and morally, this situation is more icky, in a sense. He had a server full of minors, and there he met one who, in his own technicality, which, thought it was okay to continue. The ex, being so close to 17, does not equate to mental maturity or immediate growth. He chose to continue a relationship with a minor. Overall, though, those are just my 2 cents and opinions. Now, before I sign off, remember to take care, dear viewers, and everyone involved. And for a last reminder, do with this knowledge what you will, but do not threaten or harass anyone included. This was made mostly as a message to keep in mind for any future viewers who decide to interact with his channel or stray onlookers with questions. Stay safe and take care. Bonzi out.